Hey guys, welcome back to the Home Lab series. In this video, what I want to quickly go over is the network topology. Again, since in the last video we had concluded that there's a clash in our interfaces, in our side arranges. And after that, we shall install security onion. Right, so firstly, this is our old topology. We had the host only one, which was our interface where there's Kali Linux hacking into the vulnerable machine, and then the host only two, which was for the management interface with our Ubuntu VM and security onion, right? But there was a clash in the side range for host only one and the NAT network. They were both in the same side range, and so that couldn't work. And I didn't want to reconfigure everything else because then that would be a pain. And so I just switched everything down a step in the sense that host only one is now host only two, and then now host only two is now the NAT. And the reason why the host only two is now the NAT, I should close this. The host only two is now our interface for hacking, right? This is the interface that security onion will be sniffing on and logging traffic and network traffic and all that. The reason why we're now using that network instead of the host only adapter is because the host only adapter does not allow internet access. But if we use a NAT network, we can have internet access. We can access the internet, but everything on the internet can't access the machines in the network directly. Security onion needs internet access to install. That is the major reason we now have the management interface on the NAT network, which also includes Kali Linux. And then our host only two is now the interface where we're going to have the hacking going on. Hopefully that makes sense. But that is that. What we want to do now is install security onion, and we are going to be installing it as an import node. I'll explain that when we get to it. So this is the link to download the ISO for security onion, the latest build, and I'll leave a link to it in the description below. Download this. It's like probably 2 gigabytes. I don't remember, but I already have it downloaded. So I'll bring up Virtualbox. And in Virtualbox, what we want to do is create a new machine, right? So go to machine and then new. Name the machine security, if I can type, security onion, and I want to change the machine folder. Now I've changed the machine folder. The type is supposed to be Linux. And for Virtualbox, I've noticed you can't find CentOS. So we're just going to use other Linux, 64-bit. Then next. And the mode we're going to install for security onion does not require a lot of memory. So if you want to install the evaluation mode, which you can use to log and monitor traffic in real time, you're going to need about 12 gigabytes of RAM, right? But for the mode we're going to install in, I think the minimum is 4 gigabytes, which is what I'm going to give it. And then the minimum disk space required for eval would probably be 200 if I'm not mistaken, between 200 and 400. And then the minimum for the import node, which is what we're using, is 100 gigabytes. So I am using my hard drive, which has a lot of space because I don't want to fill up the space on my laptop. 100 gigabytes, I think that would be enough. Click on create, and we have a virtual machine. But before we power it on, there's some things we need to configure first. So click on settings, general, that's fine. System, that is fine. We want to give it 2 CPUs, which is the minimum for the import node, and I think it's also the minimum for the eval. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on that. But that's that. Storage, what we want to do is attach the ISO we just downloaded. So click on this add optical disk drive thing, and then wherever you have your ISO, just look for it there. I have mine here. I'm just double click on it, choose the ISO, and it is attached. Now the last thing we need to do is our network settings, and our management interface is going to be the first adapter, which is our NAT network, which lies in the 10.0.2.1 and 24 side range, right? And then the second one is going to be our host only 2 adapter, this one, which lies in the side range 10.0.3. So don't forget that the first one is the management, the second one is the sniffing. Click OK. That should be everything. And now we can just start security onion. Here it is, starting up. Security onion 2.3.130. My bad. But it is about to boot up in a second. The installation takes a while, so be prepared to just sit and look at it. if you don't have anything else to do. Okay, so it says all data will be lost if you install Security Onion, which you want to do. We just want to install Security Onion, so type yes. Then now we need a username. I'll just use my actual name, give it a password, re-enter the password, and it is going to install some stuff. This part might take a while, like everything just takes a while in general. So let this run. I'll be back when it's done rebooting. It's going to prompt us to reboot. Just press enter and then it'll reboot and come up again. All right, we're back again. It has prompted me to reboot. I press enter to reboot, and now we're on our login screen. Before we continue, that took a while to set up, so I don't want to keep doing that in case I make a mistake. So I'm just take a snapshot, and then I'll call this base snap. And then the description would be installation, if I can type, phase 1, and this needs a P, and I'll press OK. So now that we've taken our snapshot, all we want to do is log in and then go through the rest of the installation prompts. And if that ever happens, just press capture. If you get stuck in the screen like I have, you just use right control and then you can leave. Right, so type in the username and password you entered earlier, if I can remember the password. Okay, it says welcome to Security Onion setup. Would you like to continue? Yes, we'd like to continue. What we're going to do is run the standard Security Onion installation, hit enter, and this is what I was talking about. There's the evaluation mode, and then there's a bunch of different other modes. But what we want to use is the import mode. This allows us to import PCAP and log files. This uses a lot less memory and space. And so this is what we want to use, because what we want to mostly focus on is the hacking. And then once we're done hacking, we're going to import our PCAP generated by Wireshark. We're going to be capturing our network traffic with Wireshark, import it, and then we'll analyze it. But if you want to log your traffic and monitor your traffic real time, you're going to want to install the evaluation mode. But like I said, it requires about 12 gigabytes of memory and about 200 gigabytes of disk space. So keep that in mind. We want the import mode, so I'll just press enter and use spacebar to select it, by the way. Enter, type agree in caps. Then I had problems if I did not put a hyphen or a different name on this part. So just put a hyphen or a different name, hit enter, and these are network interfaces. And remember, the first adapter is our management network interface card. The second one is going to be our sniffing interface. And here we want to select our management interface. So hit the spacebar and hit enter. And choose how you want to set up your management interface. You want to use DHCP. It might cause problems, but that doesn't matter. It'll work, right? So spacebar to select, hit enter, and it's giving us a warning that it might cause problems if the IP address changes. That doesn't matter. It's not going to, so it's okay. Hit yes. Okay. And then how should this manage be installed? Standard, not the air gap. We want the standard. This manages internet access. That's why we use the NAT network, so that we have internet access. We want a direct connection, not through a proxy. And it's running pre-flight checks. This shouldn't take too long because there's another couple of prompts that are going to come up. But once that's done, I'll be back. Okay, so now it's prompting us to enter our home networks, separated by a comma. So the first network is 10.0.2. Is it 0 to 24? Should be 0 to 24. Preferences, NAT network, properties is 0 to 24. And then the second one, 10.0.3, 1 to 24. We can confirm this again. Going to host network manager, adapter 2, 3, 1 to 24. That's the second adapter. That's the second network. And so we can press enter. Please enter an email address. This doesn't necessarily have to be an actual email address, but it is something you're going to be using to log in to the web console. when we have everything set up. So just make sure you type it in correctly and then you remember it. So this is the one I'm going to use, and then the password, and then it's asking how would you like to access the web interface. We want to use an IP address. Host names and other things usually they're kind of iffy, so just stick to the IP address, hit enter. Would you like to configure NTP servers? No. Would you like to run so allow? Not yet, we're going to do that later. Hit no, and then take note of the management IP address. Here it is. It says management IP address 10.0.2.22. This is the IP address you're going to use to log into the web interface for Security Onion. So just take note of that. So we're going to scroll down. It says press tab to select yes or no. We want to select yes, and it's going to run through the rest of the installation. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Okay, so our installation is done. It prompted me to reboot, and I pressed enter to reboot, and now we can log in Security Onion, which is set up, right? Hostname Security Onion. So before we can configure anything else, we're going to need to set up our analyst VM, which you're going to do in the next video. So this will end here, and I'll catch you in the next one.